So our first in the series is all about the IELTS Speaking exam. You know that this has different parts, and the first video is going to focus on part 1. So you're going to hear me interviewing a student, and it'll be typical questions from an old exam paper, and then I'll give you an analysis of how well the student did and how he could improve his performance. Here is an example of part 1 of the IELTS speaking test. The topic on the card is travel and tourism. Good afternoon. I'm going to ask you some questions about travel. Firstly, have you been to many foreign countries?
Yes, I've been to many countries.
Which country have you been to?
Well, I've been to Italy, Switzerland, France, Germany, Azerbaijan, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Canada.
Oh, so you've been to many countries. Which was your favourite country?
Between those, my favorite country is Italy.
Why was that?
Because they have beautiful sceneries, their food is amazing, and the people are friendly there, and I really enjoyed my time there.
That's wonderful. Tell me, which countries would you like to visit if you had lots and lots of money?
If I had lots of money, I would choose to go to United States, for example.
And why is that?
To Las Vegas.
Why would you go to the United States?
Because I always wanted to visit Las Vegas.
You live in Tehran, don't you?
Yes, I live in Tehran.
Do you think that your home city is a good place for a holiday?
Yes, it's a wonderful place.
Why do you say that?
Because we have a rich culture here, and we have plenty of restaurants where our cuisine is extremely famous in the world. Mm-hmm. And we are friendly people, and there are many things to do here, so you won't get bored.
So what would you recommend the tourists do there, for example?
Well, I recommend to visit the capital city in the beginning and spend 3-4 days in the capital, and then travel to the south to see the Persian Gulf, and travel to the north to the jungles and the Caspian Sea. And in between, like even in the central cities, for example, Isfahan or Shiraz, there are too many historical states there that they can visit.
I've heard that there are many beautiful mosques, various cities. What would be the best city for me to visit, and why?
Oh, that's a tough question. Historical-wise or cultural-wise, or just in general?
Well, I've seen many pictures of beautiful blue mosques. I like the architecture. Where should I go as a priority?
I would recommend Isfahan for the beginning of a journey.
Why do you say that?
Because there are many beautiful light blue mosques that you can visit. They can satisfy your need.
Okay, thank you. And tell me, what do you usually do with your summer holidays? Do you travel abroad or do you stay at home?
Well, these days I don't travel quite often because of the economical situation and the inflation rate and stuff. But in general, we usually go to Dubai for holidays, get some fresh air and enjoy the sea and stuff.
Yeah. I hear that there are many national holidays in your country. When is the next national holiday?
I think the next national holiday would be in a month from now.
And what do you plan to do during the holiday?
Well, I've got a test coming up in next 2 months, so I have to start. I'm preparing for that test, so I don't think I'm going to travel for that dates.
I see, what a pity. So thank you very much. We're now going to move on to IELTS Speaking Part 2. The candidate's first answer is very brief. He does not take the conversation forward. Furthermore, there is hesitation before the candidate answers. So here's a tip. He might have said, "Yes, I've been to many countries, both as a child and as a student. International travel is quite difficult for citizens of my country, but I'm grateful I've had many opportunities to see the world in the past." In the candidate's second response, he tends to make lists. Try your best to avoid lists. It's better to give some detail about when and where instead of simply listing. He might have said, "I've travelled to many countries. I actually attended high school in Switzerland for 2 years, then spent a year in Vancouver as a first-year student. I spent a year trying to set up a business in the capital city of Azerbaijan, Baku. And, as a family, we had many lovely holidays in Dubai and Italy when I was younger." In the candidate's third response, he mentions these words, "between those." This is a grammatical mistake. Between is used for a choice of two, so it would have been better to say among those. The candidate does not expand on his answer, Italy. So here's a tip. Always try to expand on your answers by giving a reason. The examiner had to ask, why was that? If you hesitate, you could always use a phrase like, "Now, that's quite a difficult question to answer, but if you pushed me, I suppose I would have to say Italy because," and then give your reasons. In the candidate's fourth response, he makes a mistake about the word scenery. He actually says sceneries, but scenery is uncountable, so you cannot say sceneries. In his next response, the correct way to talk about some countries, like the USA, is the United States. Some countries, like the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, always take the definite article. In his next response, the candidate does not expand once again on the information given. He simply says Las Vegas. So try and remember to give a reason for your choice. For example, "I've heard the entertainment in the casinos is superb. The city is full of illuminations, so it's a great place to visit at night. And there are copies of buildings from Paris and Venice, to name but two." The candidate doesn't really expand. He keeps his responses to a minimum. He says, "Yes, it's a wonderful place." You need to volunteer reasons readily. Take the conversation forward. Make it a conversation. In his next answer, he uses an ungrammatical sentence. "I recommend to visit." This is grammatically wrong. It's better to say, "I recommend you visit the city of," etc. There is repetition of the phrase travel to, so my advice is try to think of a synonym, such as make a journey southwards, instead of repeating the same word. Too many is a common mistake. A lot of foreigners make this mistake. This means more than enough. The candidate should have said, "There are numerous, there are many." Towards the end of the conversation, the candidate makes a couple more mistakes. He uses the words, "that can satisfy your need." We usually use the word need in the plural, so it would have been better to say, "to satisfy your needs." In his next answer, there is misuse of the word economical, which means saving. The correct phrase is economic situation. Try not to use phrases like "and stuff." This is colloquial, it's slang. It's better to use something a bit more formal, like "and so on." In his last answer, the candidate displays hesitation. He says something like, ah, bum, 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 while thinking of an answer. So my advice is always have a hesitation phrase ready, like, now let me see. If I remember correctly, the next national holiday is, etc.